Hey guys, and welcome back to Studying Smarter. So today I'm in a new location. I'm currently on holiday with my family, so we're staying at this really cute little house on a lake, and I don't even have words for how beautiful it's been past like 24 hours just being here. So, anyways, today I'm going to be talking about my favorite book of 2019. And honestly, I think one of my definitely top 5 favorite books of the decade. I think I'm going to do a different video on my favorite books from the decade. But I definitely know that this one made it on the list. So I read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And um, I don't know why it's taking me so long to read this book, but I know that this was the time that I was supposed to read it. I was in the perfect mood. I had just finished. What was the last book that I just finished? I think I had just finished The Toll, which was the third book in the Scythe series, and loved that book so much. Gave it 5 stars. So I think I was just, on a roll with these 5-star books. And I was just in the perfect mood for it. It was so sweet, so cute, touching. I feel like I learned so much through these characters. I saw myself in almost all of them, which was beautiful, I think. So let's do like a non-spoilery section. I'm pretty sure that everyone knows the premise of this book, but I guess I'll try to do a little overview for you guys. If you hadn't read it like I hadn't, and I honestly didn't really know much about it. I went into it pretty much blind. I did see the trailer for the new movie, but I'd only seen it once, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like I definitely have to read this. It looked really cute. So basically, we follow these 4 sisters through their lives. They go through so many different things. When we end the story, they're grown adults, and I think it was just beautiful. I don't really know what else to say because there wasn't much like one singular storyline. It followed each of them in their different paths of life. And I thought it was so special. It was so special. So I listened to it via audiobook for the last like, maybe 4 chapters of the book. But for the entire beginning, I read it, and my mom actually read me some of it aloud while like we were on, just like hanging out at home and stuff. Like if she wanted me to do something for her, like can you just read to me while I do this task? And love her, but she is not a very good reader, at least out loud, and it was rough. I had to read over some stuff, so sorry, mom. Wait, so I don't really know what else to say in the non-spoiler section besides go read the book. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's so well written. It's heartwarming. It's heartbreaking. It's everything that I feel like you want in a book. Obviously, this is my top book of 2019. I thought it was perfect, and I am so excited to watch the movie. So let me know in the comments if you guys are gonna read the book first or watch the movie, or watch the movie first then read the book. I know that I personally like to read before I watch the movie, so I get like a better understanding of what's going on. Anyway, so that's it for the non-spoilery section. If you haven't read the book, please go do it. It's amazing. All right, bye non-spoilery people. Alright, so let's get into the details of this book. I jotted down a few plot points that I wanted to talk about, and we're going to get straight into it. So, what I think I loved the most about this book, and you guys feel like let's chat in the comments about this, because I think it's just, this book is just, there's so many things you could talk about, but I think the main thing that I loved so much was how my view on the characters changed throughout the book. Like I remember in the very beginning, reading the sisters, and like, oh my gosh, Jo was just so insufferable, and I was like, this little girl, like she has such a sharp tongue. She's just not like me. I'm very the opposite of Jo, like 100%. So to read about her, and just I would just get so frustrated, especially when like she would hurt her sister's feelings and stuff, and I was like, Joe, sis, that ain't it, you know? But then as you go through the book and she gets older and just more life experiences and just how grief affects you, how pain and loss and love affect you, how that just kind of softened her and also really refined her as a person. I think that was what I love so much about each of these characters, because as you move through the story, you got to see them in different lights. You get to see them in different circumstances and get to really understand who they are. I felt like these sisters were my sisters. I don't have sisters, but I wish I did. They were like sisters to me. They were so real. Like even Mrs. March, she was so wise, and I love how she related to Joe in like getting angry a lot and stuff like that. How she helped Joe through her anger and work through it, because you can't be like that as a person. You can't be so quick to anger, and Mrs. March knew that, and knew that on like a level because she dealt with that herself. So being able to share her own experiences and her own different ways of coping and different ways of dealing with certain situations, like she was able to help Joe in that, and I thought that was so special. Like not everyone has a parental figure like that in their lives. I definitely do. My parents are amazing, but you know, some people don't really have that. So I just thought it was just so special that I feel like through a book you can learn so much. And even if you don't have like these certain things in your life, like, you know, I don't have sisters, but like I was able to have sisters for the duration of the book, you know? And I think that's so special about books in general. But I think if I was to pick a favorite out of the sisters, I think it's so hard because in the beginning I really love Meg. I thought she was so kind, so like sweet, and then when she met Mr. Brooke, I thought that was so cute. But then like as a wife, and just like, I don't know, they're also imperfect, you know, and that's just humanity. That's what makes them so relatable, because they're like us, we're imperfect people. But I think my favorite character by far is definitely Beth. She's definitely a constant in the story. She has a sweet countenance, this like this presence about her that just brings peace into the room and just happiness and joy. How she would like towards the end when she was doing things for the people around her, people would get like gift baskets and stuff. That was so sweet. That's definitely something that I want to work on in 2019. I want to see people, like really see them. I want to notice. I want to remember things that people say. I'm not the best gift giver or like a very good memory, but I want to remember things and be able to, I don't know, surprise people with things. Make them feel like they're wanted and they're loved and they're being thought about, like just randomly, you know, like with no thought about getting anything in return. And that's exactly, I think, who Beth is, and that's what made her so special to me, because she's definitely something that I want to be, something that I strive to be. And obviously the most heartbreaking part of that whole thing is she was taken so young. When she got scarlet fever in the middle of the book, I was like pacing in my house, and my mom was like, "You good?" And I was like, "No, Beth, she has scarlet fever and I don't think she's gonna make it." So okay, I got a little bit spoiled, because on the back of my edition, it's like I got it from the library, and I guess it's just a special edition, I don't know, and it said in the back like 4 sisters, 1 Beth tragically taken at a young age, something like that. And I had like read that, and then I flipped it back over and I was like, dang it, no, I didn't want to know that. Why do they have a spoiler in the back of the book? But I guess they just assume that everyone, you know, just like knows. Whatever. So yeah, that was stressful in that part. I was like, oh my god, like I cannot. My girl is not okay right now, and I'm not okay. But then she got better, but then she never actually was 100 ever again. Like, she was just never at 100%. And that, I think, was what was so tough about it, because, like, isn't that just real life? Experiences change us. And we were never going to be who we were before that life experience happened. And I think that's just life. And that's kind of what it just meant for me. Like, just seeing her be so sick and then recovering, but never fully recovering. And at the end, when she was on vacation with Joe, and Joe knew that the time was coming, and she knew that Beth knew. And for Beth to just at such a young age just say, I don't have everything under control. I can't control, my health. I can't, but it's okay, and I just want you guys to be okay. So I thought that was really special. Just Beth's whole storyline as a whole, how she, in my opinion, was really the glue for the family. It was just so sweet. All right, now we're gonna talk about the relationship aspects of this book. I have mixed feelings about this, everything that kind of just went down. I definitely thought that Meg and Mr. Brooke were perfect. I thought that I just loved Meg's outlook on the entire thing. Like, whenever, like, she knew that Mr. Brooke liked her, but she just was like, she was chilling. Like, the definition of that word, she was just like, whatever, like, I mean, if he likes me, okay. I don't know if I like him, maybe. I mean, we'll see. Like, she was just really chilling, and I respected it, honestly. And then when they got married, I have such a hard time with these, like, conventional roles for women. When he got upset that, I mean, I understand, because she had been saying this entire time that if you want to bring a friend over, no big deal, like, I'm gonna cook, like, don't worry about it, the house is always clean, like, whatever. And then whenever he actually brought somebody over unexpected, she, like, flipped out, and she was like, whoa, that's not, like, she just wasn't ready that day. She was just going through stuff, and I had such mixed feelings, because I can see both sides, obviously, as the reader, but I don't know. I wanted something more from Meg. I wanted something more, and I just don't. I mean, I guess maybe she was just the most conventional out of her sisters. I don't know. It was alright. Like, I definitely liked Mr. Brooke and Meg. I thought they were, like, a perfect fit. I thought he was very sweet. Thought that he was perfect for her, honestly. I don't know. It was alright. Whatever. I don't really have much problem with that relationship. What I really have a problem with was everything surrounding Jill. So, in the very beginning of the book, I already knew that Lori was, like, he's in love with her. Like, you could just see, like, from the very first time he comes into, like, the scene. But in my head, I was like, no, like, I want one book where two characters, a male and a female, can have a friendship, and that's it. Like, they could be best friends, and that's it. And I got that to an extent. I definitely got that. Like, I was really happy whenever Joe was like, no, Lori, like, this isn't gonna work. Like, you're obviously my best friend, but we're just too similar. We just wouldn't work, And he was obviously heartbroken, and everything. But then, when at the end, he ends up with Amy. So let's talk about Amy for a sec, because in the very beginning of the book, she was the one character that I was like, I don't like her. Not that I don't like her, I just, like, she just annoyed me, like, the entire time. It was just all, like, I want to be pretty. I want to own all these things. I want to have stuff, blah, 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 you know? And like, I find that so fake, you know? And like, you know, everybody's kind of like that. Everybody wants things, and especially as kids, like, we just want stuff, you know? It's normal. She was just annoying to me. Just like, that's just my opinion. She was just annoying. And then she got better throughout the book when she left home to go abroad. She was doing her art. Like, she just had this like gracefulness about her. I was like, okay, like, I'm here for this new and refined Amy. But I still didn't see where Lori fit in with that whole thing. I'm not sure if Louisa just wanted to put him with just one of the sisters, you know, just any sister. She was just like, we just need him in the family. Like, if that's what it was. I don't know, I just didn't find it very genuine. I didn't find their love to be real at all. Or even that it made sense. It just didn't make sense to me. All of it. It just didn't make sense. Like, whenever he had first went to visit her, and then they were just spending all this time together, I like obviously saw it coming. I was like, okay. And then when they finally at the end really got together, I was like, okay. Whatever. Okay, let's just next. So Jo and her relationship. So Jo and this German professor who's like 40 years old. He's like 20 years older than her. I don't know. I was really hoping that Jo was going to be the heroine who broke the societal norm for women in books. I really thought that she was going to break that. She was going to break that boundary. She was going to break that. I really thought. But then we were doing so well, you know, like, she had just said no to Lori, and she was saying how she just wanted, you know, to do what she wanted to do. She wanted to write. She also wanted to be there for her family whenever they were grieving for Beth. You know, and I never saw her, even as like when she was a kid, I never saw her as being the type to get married. Like, I just never saw it in her character. So then when she finally did fall in love with the professor, I was just confused. And I was just like, no. Why couldn't she have just been the sister that just was single? You know? Why? Why not? I don't. It's not that I didn't like the professor. I thought he was nice. I thought he was boring, though. I thought he was so boring. And like, he just like kind of came out of nowhere. And that's when I was like, why? You know, I don't know. The entire like last couple of chapters, like, the book is still 5 stars for me. Definitely best book of 2019. Definitely one of the best books I've read this decade. I just felt like the end let me down just a little bit. I felt like I wish it had went a different way. I wish that Megan, Mr. Brooke, still fine. Lori, I wish she would have found someone else. Amy, I wish she had also found someone else. I really thought that Fred was promising at one point, and then when he wasn't, I was like, okay, girl, we're like, whatever. I don't know, I just felt like they were both settling, you know? Like, he was like, well, can't have Jo, guess I should just, you know, get with the sister. And like, even though he said in the book, like, that's not what he was doing, I couldn't shake it, because he's been in love with Jo since like he was 12 years old, you know? And it just, like I said, it just didn't feel genuine to me, their love. And then Jo, I just wish that she had ended up single and just being that figure that was like, yes, like, I don't need a man. I don't need to be lumped in with all the rest of the female book characters who at the end always have to get married, you know? I wish she could have just been like chilling, writing her books, writing her stuff, like doing her own thing, taking care of the family. Like, I just love how she she grew into like her role in the house. Like I thought that was really sweet. Um, yeah, I mean it was fine. It was fine. I mean I wish it ended up a little bit different, but still loved the book. Next thing I want to talk about is Mr. March and Mr. Lawrence, because they both are the father figures of this novel. I guess first I'll start with Mr. Lawrence. He's definitely up there in my favorite characters. It's definitely Mrs. March, Beth, and Mr. Lawrence up there in the elite for me, because I think they all just represented something that like I just love in characters. Like Mr. Lawrence is so generous and so kind, and like his relationship with Beth was the sweetest. How he just like saw his niece in her, and then like he gave her the piano because he knew that she loved music, and she was like coming over to his house to play with the piano, and that was just really sweet. I just loved it so much. And how yeah, how he was just like there for the family, like always. Like whenever Mr. March was ill and he was away at war, he was like, don't worry, I'm gonna watch the girls, me and Hannah, we got this. Here's Mr. Brooke, he'll go with you. And like he just, I don't know, he just like filled that role that Mr. March wasn't able to play in the very beginning of the book, and I thought that was really sweet. I just feel like the girls needed that. They needed that male figure that was, oh my gosh, whenever Lori gets in trouble and like the Mr. Lawrence like gets angry at him, and I think he like shakes him or something, and Lori's like, I'm running away, and Joe's like, calm down, okay, let me work this out. And she goes over to Mr. Lawrence, and she's just so fearless, and she's just so funny. And then he's kind of mad at first, and he's like, all right, you're right, okay, you're right, you know. Like I loved his relationship with all of the girls. I think it was just really sweet, and it was just funny. I loved it so much. And then Mr. March, how I feel like especially in the beginning of the book, he was he was away at war, and they're kind of just like doing all these things because they're like, father's coming back, you know, and like we want to be our best when he comes back, you know. And then when he does come back, and it's just it's such a full circle moment. It's so beautiful because like they're finally reunited, and then you see this beautiful dynamic that Mrs. March and Mr. March have in the house, and how they both like co-parent so well, and they both learn from each other so much. Like whenever Mrs. March was telling Joe about how when she gets angry that Mr. March just like looks over at her, and she's like, we good, you know, like we good. It's just so sweet. Like that's the kind of love that I want. That's the kind of love that I love to see in books. I feel like we don't really see that dynamic very often. Like even we kind of see almost like the opposite with Mr. Brooke and Meg, because they're like struggling, and like Meg is kind of doing all of the household stuff. She's like taking care of their 2 kids, and they're just running amok, and she's trying to clean, and then all of this stuff that's going on, but then she's not spending time with like Mr. Brooke, and then he's angry, and then he's leaving, and he's like gone for most of the night, and I'm like, when will we find a balance, you know? But then when Meg goes to the mom, and the mom like tells her like, you know, the secret, I feel like, of working together as a married couple, and she's just like, y'all just, you know, like y'all need to come together, you know. She kind of just like tells them how to work it out, tells Meg how her and Mr. March does it, and how they had to learn to work together to raise all 4 of the girls. I thought that was really sweet. I thought it was so good. It was so good. I loved Mr. March, especially like, I mean, obviously I was in the very beginning, I was like stressed because I was like, oh my god, like, is he gonna come back from war? He's ill, like he's sick, he's not doing good. And then when Beth gets sick, and then the mom isn't there when Beth is sick, and no one is telling her that Beth is sick. I was so stressed. Like I just can't imagine that scenario. Like I feel like I'm 21 years old, and I just like need my mom, especially like whenever I'm sick and whenever I'm not feeling good. So like for Beth to be so sick, where like at times she doesn't know who her sisters are, like she's just mumbling nonsense at points, like for that to be happening and Mrs. March not to know, like that was so terrifying to me. Like it's just my worst nightmare. Honestly, it's my worst nightmare. I can't. But finally, when Mr. March does come back, and it was just so cool to see how he's kind of like what how the family is, like how they work. Like he was just the missing link, the missing cog that we needed, that we were missing in the very beginning of the book. And then when he finally got back and he was re-added, like it just, everything just worked together so smooth and so beautifully. Like I was obsessed with the whole family dynamics that was going on throughout this book. I thought it was just, it was great. It was great. I really don't have much else to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that you guys loved this book as much as I did. And if you didn't, or if you did, like leave me a comment. I want to hear all of your guys' thoughts, your theories, whatever you want to talk about. Emily, my best friend, also, she hasn't finished yet, but we were reading at the same time, and we got to part 2 of the book at the same time. And so anyways, I read it in like a day because I was like really I wasn't busy, but she was very busy, so I haven't been able to talk to anybody about this. So that's why this video right now before editing is 30 minutes long. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe, and if you guys want more book talk videos like this, let us know. We love to do them. Thank you. Goodbye.